You're watching CBS 2 News at 5.
Sex appeal, unlimited talent, and an untimely death. Tonight, an intimate look at Marilyn Monroe. They are her personal items seen for the very first time, and Paul's here with part one of our exclusive report. Paul?
Well, Marilyn Monroe died in August 1962, yet more than 40 years after her death, she was just ranked by Forbes magazine as one of the top-earning dead celebrities. And tonight, we get our closest look yet at some of Marilyn's most treasured items.
The world called her Marilyn, the legend, Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe is truly an international icon.
Was it her breathy, sexy voice?
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
The way the silver screen captured the femme fatale's beauty and glamour?
I wanna be loved by you.
Or was it the blonde beauty's vulnerability that enraptured the world and seduced fans for decades to come?
What is the allure? Her allure is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Now, CBS 2 and KCAL 9 take an exclusive look into the life of Hollywood's first and ultimate It Girl. A satellite tracked truck arrives at dawn to the port of Long Beach with armed guards. Inside these boxes, the largest private collection of Monroe memories and memorabilia worth multi-millions of dollars to its collector, but considered priceless and timeless by legions of admirers.
Marilyn represents class, elegance, glamour, grandeur, and sophistication, and that marries very well with the Queen Mary.
Beginning November 11, the Queen Mary is the premier port for the Marilyn Monroe World Tour exhibit that will visit 6 continents and 39 cities.
You're seeing one legend while on another legend, so it's legend to legend.
And we were the only crew invited aboard while the treasures are carefully unwrapped.
What I've tried to select here are pieces that have somewhat of a story to them.
Robert Otto, a baseball fan, has been collecting Norma Jean for more than 37 years, a journey that begins with Joe Dimaggio.
No matter where you went with Joe, it led to Marilyn. All roads with Joe Dimaggio leads to Marilyn Monroe.
When on deck at the red carpet exhibit, you'll see glamorous gowns, one-of-a-kind jewels like this diamond M, given to the seductive songstress by Frank Sinatra, even the most intimate of apparel.
A lot of the stuff came from the Dimaggio family.
This monogrammed grape jelly garnet ring was originally Joe's mother's and was considered a pre-engagement gift from the baseball great.
I have the shoes that she wore to marry Joe. I have the purse that she wore to the wedding. I have the gloves that she wore that day and carried. I also have the nightgown that Joe's brother gave to her. It's a black French silk long nightgown lined in pink, and that was given to her for her honeymoon night.
All items sold with a certificate of authenticity.
One of the things you want to do as a collector, you try to find as many original sources as you can. If I have the slightest doubt about the piece, the answer is I'm not going to buy it.
A tennis racket ready to play. A hand mirror with her signature MM. Even her Clairol curlers still wrapped with strays of platinum blonde strands. Docents insist it's the most intimate exhibit of the icon to date.
This will not be your typical museum visit. You will feel as though you're walking seriously back into her life.
The mystique of Marilyn Monroe still lives on long after her controversial death. And today, a legacy shrouded in mystery continues to grow as the consummate star remains forever young, frozen in time.
She will be around long, long after us.
Marilyn Monroe, a star, a legend. And tonight, someone who knew her best helps us understand the real Marilyn. Paul is here with part two of our special report. And Paul, one woman who has quite a story to tell.
Boy, she really does, Laura. Marilyn Monroe starred in more than 30 films. People magazine voted her the sexiest woman of the century. But what was she like when the cameras were off, when the spotlight was dim? Tonight, we hear from one of the people who knew her best.
She was murdered. I know she was murdered. Don't know. I haven't the slightest idea who would want to destroy this beautiful person. At 36 years of age, it's unbelievable.
It is our opinion that the case is a probable suicide.
On August 5th, 1962, the most beloved silver screen siren in the world was found dead in her Brentwood home. It was deemed suicide. But for those who knew Marilyn Monroe best, it was murder.
My uncle Joe Dimaggio, he was married to my dear friend, Marilyn Monroe. She was my friend for 11 years.
Joe Dimaggio's niece, June Dimaggio, is talking for the first time since the icon was laid to rest in a private ceremony by the baseball great.
And that's the last time I saw her. That night, she was murdered.
June was not only there as the casket went into the crypt, but also delivered the beauty a homemade pizza just hours before her mysterious and tragic death.
She said to me, "Junie, would you make me a pizza?"
June, a successful actress in her own right, knew the blonde bombshell intimately.
Yes, it is very important to me.
That sweet little voice she had, you know, like that. No, she had a normal speaking voice. In fact, it was rather low.
Today, the last Dimaggio wants to set the record straight.
I want people to know that Marilyn Monroe never drank. Every once in a while, on a special occasion, she would take a little sherry and a little glass of ice.
And June vehemently denies the heartthrob could ever overdose or take her own life.
No, I never knew her to take barbiturates. I know for a fact that she would take a Nembutal once in a while to sleep.
In fact, June reveals the day of Monroe's funeral was supposed to be her wedding day. The family member says Marilyn and her uncle were planning to remarry.
And to know that this woman died 3 days before she was going to be married again to the love of her life as well as his life, Joe Dimaggio. These stories need to be told.
June shares these stories and more in her new book written with television and radio host Mary Jane Pop.
Some say love.
It was at this piano of Dimaggio's Marilyn rehearsed the legendary Happy Birthday song.
Happy birthday to you.
She didn't have an affair with the Kennedys, I'll tell you that right now.
As new and fascinating facts come out regarding her death, legions of fans mourn and miss the ultimate glamour queen, while friends who knew her best choose to remember the woman inside the starlet.
She was just a very, very normal person. She wasn't anything like you see in the movies. One of the things she said one time, "Why do they call me a star? The stars are in the heavens. I'm just a working performer." She was very sweet.
You can win tickets to the real Marilyn Monroe exhibit at the Queen Mary just by going to CBS2.com. On the site, you can also see a slideshow of the items we showed you tonight and other items in that incredible exhibit.